right, guys. Episode 2 of the Rundown. I'm Antonio, here with Sarah. Today we're at Tim Hortons, so a little different place, and we're just going to give you the rundown. So I totally forgot what we were going to talk about.
You practice it all day, though.
Yes. Sarah is another local runner, and she has ran everything from 5K to ultra marathon. So we're going to touch base on that and also give you a heads up of the upcoming stuff in our area. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about you.
Started running later in life when my sister got excited to do a 5K. Decided from there that I'd do a 10K and build up to a marathon, and then decided to do a triathlon, which is what got me to meet Antonio here. Met him up in Metamora and been running ever since.
Yeah, we found Sarah. She was wandering the streets of Lapeer, just
wandering
around,
lonely.
running around. So myself, Doug, and Nate, the three musketeers, we call ourselves, adopted her, took her in as one of our own, and it was funny. Hey, look at somebody back there. This is great. Oh, did you guys see that? The kid just got kicked. Oh, no. Live TV here. All right, awesome. So we found her, we brought her out to Metamora, and it was funny because at the time, Sarah struggled to keep up, and
I struggled to run 3 miles.
kept saying, I'm sorry for slowing you guys down. And now if you know Sarah, Sarah is probably one of the best female athletes in our area, kicking my butt, Doug's butt, definitely Nate's butt, all the time. So, Sarah, what's coming up for you? I know that last year or 2 years ago you ran Boston. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that was like to make it there?
It was tough to get there. Definitely struggled to train most days, but glad I got there. It was a rewarding experience. What else do I got?
Well,
I'm happy I ran it, but I found that right balance between enjoying it, running it well, but still enjoying the experience itself.
yeah. I think for those of us who haven't made it there, the question is it worth it? Was it everything that you hoped, or was it just checking a box and now it's on to the next thing?
I would say more just checking a box. It wasn't, not growing up a runner, Boston was never a huge goal of mine. It kind of became one as I started training and learning more about the running world, but now that I've done it, unless there's a large group that goes back, I wouldn't necessarily say I would do it again, but it's a nice, it's a nice goal to reach for.
Sweet. So fast forward to last year, you ran Run Rabbit Run, Colorado, and I think a lot of us here consider ourselves pretty good trail runners, right? Like Michigan's got some cool trails. I myself think I'm a pretty big badass on the trail, but we're talking about Michigan, so everything's flat and dirt, and the biggest thing you have to worry about is rocks and roots. You ran Colorado, and that's 10 times more challenging. What advice do you have for somebody that wants to go do a trail race out of the state?
Depending on what your goal is, I strongly suggest go check it out before the race. There's no real way to prepare for that type of terrain unless you actually go there. And I find the biggest hill you can in your area and run it as often as possible.
Nice. Was there anything special or significant about Colorado? Would you go back? What are your thoughts?
I don't know if I would go back. It was probably one of the toughest races I've ever done, just because you can't train for that type of altitude change in Michigan. But I'm still glad I did it because it was difficult, and there's nothing like running out in the wilderness quite like that. So it was definitely, I'm glad I did it, but I have no desire to go do it again.
I seen some of the pictures. It looked breathtaking. One of them in particular, hopefully I can work my magic.
Right there.
And put a picture right here. There was a very good picture of you and one of my really good friends, Anita, embracing at the end. And I don't know because I wasn't there, but I'm guessing that pretty much sums up Colorado.
It was definitely an emotional roller coaster running. It's, you start, you're excited, everybody's there, we're going, and then you get to those moments where you're like, what am I in? This is way tougher than I anticipated. And then you question whether or not you're going to be able to finish it. But then you get to that high when you get halfway through, and all of a sudden you're like so exuberant, and runner's high happens in the middle of the race, and then you're just so excited to be done.
Yeah. I think that's every race I've ever done. It's like, this is cool, this sucks, I'm glad it's done, let's do it again.
Right.
If you're getting into running, those are all normal feelings. So you are not alone. And I don't care if you've ran 100 races, I still think you have those feelings of, this is cool, this sucks, that was great.
I'm a great runner, I'm making great life choices, I'm not making life choices.
So we got a little bit of time left. What do you have coming up? What are some of the goals you have coming into 2024?
Well, originally my goal was to qualify for New York at Carmel, but now I'm wondering if maybe I didn't start seriously training as soon as possible. So in order to set myself up for success, I think I would rather push and do a little bit of a later marathon. And then after that, I'll spend most of my time training then for Chicago and doing Chicago in the fall. And then hopefully getting back to triathlons next year.
Sweet. I think the more important thing out of that whole sentence I got was, it is totally okay to look at where you are, where your training is, reevaluate, and keep your eye on the prize, but maybe that prize isn't happening in May. Maybe it's happening a little bit longer down the road.
Adjusting, not quitting.
Yes, these are calculated decisions to make sure that you're set up to hit your goal, but they're not failures, right?
Right, not a failure.
Sweet. Well, let's talk about some stuff that we have coming up locally. I don't know about you, but I know a couple things that I have signed up, one of which being the Burton Hot Fudge 5K coming up. Are you doing that?
I'm not going to make it to that one, but the hot fudge sells it for me, so I don't know. Maybe it might be a morning of decision.
It's right here. If you're local to the Greater Flint area, we have the Burton Hot Fudge 5K, which is cool because it goes over an overpass through some neighborhoods. It is a great February race to see where you are and kind of set that as a benchmark to go after and beat for the rest of the year. Fast forward, we are going to Midland to see our boy Andy Brady. If you're out there, give me a what's up, boy. He puts on a pretty kick-ass party up there called Snow Moon Trail Run.
Yep.
We've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. 5K, 15K, 25K, usually terrible conditions. This year it's 50 degrees right now in Michigan, so we can't complain. There's no snow.
Last year you couldn't get traction because it was all ice. This year it'll probably be mud.
Just depends. One thing that doesn't change, awesome time, Blake's hard cider, I think just the people we go up there with are fantastic, so that's just the party.
Get a group of friends and have a good night.
Yeah, time away, but time on your feet too, so win-win. And then lastly, one of the oldest races in Flint, going on for now 44 years, is the Pot of Gold St. Patrick's Day race. So that race takes place on St. Patrick's Day, downtown Flint, 2 p.m. It's a 4 mile and just a lot of fun. I think it's a great race that, again, one of those ones that it's so early in the year, you're like, all right, let me see what I can do and go after it. So
not often that you get to do a 4 mile race.
That's true. And the medals are designed by yours truly, so I take really great pride in that. So again, put a medal like right here or something. I don't know. I'll play with this later and see. I'm sure there's a That's What She Said somewhere in there. But anyways, we appreciate you coming and joining us again for another Friday. And if we don't see you at any of those great races coming up, we hope that you tune back in next Friday, and we'll see what the next episode of the Rundown brings. So until then, enjoy your Friday, and we'll catch you next week.